Well, a question that seems to come up quite often from folks shopping for a new e-bike, and maybe you've had this question as well, is how much do they actually weigh? That's a valid concern, especially if you're looking at a foldable model like this, and this is the LECTRIC XP 2.0. It weighs about 65 pounds. You're going to want to fold it up and lift it into the back of a vehicle, for example, or maybe even lift it up onto a bike rack. And that weight certainly plays into your ability to be able to move it around comfortably. Now, LECTRIC has come out with a new model, and it's called the LECTRIC XP Lite. And at first glance, it doesn't look much different from the LECTRIC XP 2.0, but the surprising thing is that it's actually a third lighter. It's 45 pounds roughly compared to the XP 2.0, which weighs in about 65 pounds. How are they actually able to create this lighter weight model and shed like 20 pounds off of this bike? Well, let's take a closer look and find out. We'll notice that it's got smaller tires, it's got kind of standard forks. It really starts to look less like an e-bike. And so at a distance you might say, oh, it's just a regular old bike. It has 2.5-inch tires as opposed to the fatter 3.5-inch tires that we see on the XP 2.0, or even like on the XP 1.0, it's got the 4-inch tires. So these are much smaller tires, still have that kind of knobby, kind of all-terrain tire. But because of the smaller tires, we can get away with a smaller rim, and there's a little bit less weight involved there. It doesn't have the shock absorbers, so the front suspension, and so losing that, we were able to shed a little bit of weight. We've got a smaller hub motor in the back. It doesn't require as much power. We can get away with a smaller battery, which is still located here in the neck. And we can kind of still keep that look, that XP e-bike look, but everything's just a little bit more compact and lighter weight. Now let's take a look at the handlebars and the controls and see if you can spot something that's different. Now the controls here are pretty much identical to the XP 2.0. We've got the same size handlebar, and we've got our thumb controls, pedal assist, and everything looks pretty much the same. We've got our brakes, our front brake and our rear brake. But if we look here on the right handlebar, we've got our throttle. But what's missing here? We don't have any gears. So yeah, that's an interesting thing about this bike, is that it's a 1-speed bike, and it doesn't have the 7-speed Shimano transmission. Being a single-speed bike, there's no need for a derailleur and all that other stuff that goes along with the transmission here. And you also don't have all those extra controls that you need to manage and shift gears all the time. So you can see by making those design changes how they were able to shed all that weight, that 20 pounds, that's pretty significant, and create a bike that's a little bit more nimble, lighter weight, still has that foldability, and it still has that general look and feel of a LECTRIC XP bike that I think a lot of people like. There are also several color options available, and it actually costs less as well, so that's a huge factor. So yeah, I'll spend some more time and we'll compare some of the major differences between this bike and the XP 2.0 as well. But there were some concerns that I had initially, when I first kind of look at it and started to learn about some of these big changes. I wasn't sure how it was going to handle the various terrain that we ride on, how that rideability is going to be with this single speed bike, having no gears, whether it's dirt, gravel, paved roads. Of course, I wanted to push it to see how far I could go on a single charge with this smaller battery, and yeah, I wanted to see how fast I could take it. I know you're going to have all these questions, so I wanted to be able to answer them and really show you what the capabilities of this bike are, where it might fall short, and just kind of get a general sense of what it's like to ride this bike. We'll start by just kind of looking at the general operation and what our first impressions were, and what it'd be like to just take this out for a ride for the first time.
So when I first saw this bike in the shop, I was pretty excited about the size of it and actually the color options. I was immediately drawn to this color. I just like that it's pretty, but it's subtle. I also like the size of the bike. It just feels more, I guess, bike-like because it's a little bit smaller, a little bit more compact. Sitting on it just feels really comfortable.
So the first thing that we noticed when we stepped into this bike for the first time, once we got the handlebars adjusted and the seat height adjusted, is just kind of how natural it feels. It kind of has that feel of that bike you had when you were younger, or kind of has a mountain bikey kind of feel to it because of its lightweight feel. You know, stepping into it and riding it, it's just kind of like riding a regular bike, and it feels like a regular bike. We've got our key down here below the battery that you insert at a slight angle, turn it front to back. Now with the key turned on, all we have to do is use our left thumb control here, and the button on the far right is the power. Just hold it down and you'll see the display come to life. And we have our pedal assist mode already set to 1. It goes from 0 to 5. And leave that at 1. Our speed and our battery charge level. On the right hand side, the only thing you really have is your throttle here, which you just kind of control with the first 2 fingers here on the inside of your handle, and you can use the other part of your grip just to hold on. And you have your brakes. You have your rear brake on the right and front brake on the left. And once you hit the brakes, it disables any power going to the motor, so you'll slow right down if you're going too fast, or whatever. Now to ride this bike, all you really have to do is start pedaling, and when you want to go faster, start increasing the pedal assist level on your left thumb control. There's a plus and a minus, and just go up and down, and it'll adjust how much the motor helps you out with the pedal. So at any time you can also hit that accelerator or that throttle and accelerate up to max speed if you want to.
Not having to think about changing gears was actually really nice. Just to get on, start pedaling, and then if I needed a little extra assist, just increase my assistance on it. So typically on the 2.0, as I'm increasing my pedal assist, I'm really paying attention to my gears to make sure that my pedals are keeping up with that increase in the pedal assist. Whereas on this bike, since I don't have that, as I increase my pedal assist, my pedals are keeping up with it just fine, and it just seems to be kind of a no-brainer as I'm riding.
Now there's a couple other functions here on the controller that I want to tell you about. If you want to use the front headlight and tail light and just turn that on, to turn that on you just press and hold this plus on the controller, and you'll see that here it shows that the light's on, so you don't have to see the light, you can just know that it's on by looking at the display. And then to turn it off again, you just depress it again and it's off. So that's the headlight. And then you can also change the display here on the bottom. So right now it's set to odometer. In this one it says I've gone 41 miles. If I press the power button and just kind of press it and release it, it'll toggle to these different display modes, like a trip meter. Right now it's 0. The voltage, current voltage level, 52, 53 volts. The next one is current, so it shows the amps, or the current in amps, how much energy is actually coming out of your battery. So the closer to 0 you are, the less power is actually being drawn from your battery. Now when we get into the range test, I'll give you some tips on how you can use this current display together with your pedal assist settings and your pedaling speed to really optimize the amount of power you're drawing from the battery and increase the distance you can get on a single battery charge. Alright, well I'm going to head out and do a range test of this battery to see how far it goes, see which one gives up first, the battery or me. But I have lots of miles of dirt road here, so I'm just going to keep going as long as I can and see what happens, and I'll check in with you along the way. I'll probably be keeping it at around a pedal assist 2, 3, just kind of cruise along, pedaling, and it's nice and sunny. Let's go. Well, so far I am about 20 miles in, and I have a feeling I have a long way to go. So I'm gonna keep riding. It's a nice day though, and having a lot of fun. Here we go. All right, well, I found a really nice stretch of road here, and it's going to be a perfect spot to actually do a little speed test to push the bike here to see how fast it can really go. So this is going to be a lot of fun. So let's see what we can do. All right, well, that was a lot of fun. It seems like the max speed, as far as I could tell, on this bike at pedal assist 5, pedaling like crazy, is about 20 miles per hour. So that still felt pretty fast on this bike, and it's I don't think you really want to go much faster than that. So yeah, 20 miles per hour, that's it. So I'm just gonna give the bike and the battery the win for this one, because my butt said it was time to stop. I'd gone about 31 miles, and there's still a couple bars left on the battery itself. So yeah, I was prepared to ride back, just on without the battery, just manual biking mode, but it didn't get to that. I was getting kind of tired, and yeah, it was time to stop. So 30 miles is a pretty good test, but I wanted to share some tips, things I picked up on this ride that will help you get the most out of your range on this bike. So what I figured out was that each pedal assist mode has its own kind of sweet spot. So if you can maintain a specific speed, then you can take that current draw down to 0 in some cases, and essentially not use any battery at a specific speed. So if you just hit the power button and you go toggle it until you get to the current reading, so that's going to tell you how many amps are being taken from your battery at that time. And then while you're riding, say in pedal assist mode 2, the sweet spot is about 12 miles per hour. So if you watch those that current, it'll go from like maybe 5 amps, and then as you reach that 12 mile an hour mark, it goes down to 0. So then essentially you're just kind of maintaining that speed, and it just goes up based on the different pedal assist modes. So if you're at 3, then I think that sweet spot's around 15 miles per hour, and then 4, pedal assist 4, it's about 17 miles per hour or so. So that's kind of an interesting thing, and it's going to really help you get a lot of range out of this bike when you're riding it. And I should also say that, in the middle of this ride, I did a bunch of those speed tests. So I was really cranking it and, at that pedal assist 5 level, seeing how fast I can go, taxing the motor a little bit. So even with that, I still ended up with, over 30 miles on this bike and still had a couple of bars of battery life left. Well, I've had a lot of fun riding this bike, and your experience though is going to vary depending upon the type of rider that you are and the type of terrain that you ride it on. Now, we first picked these up over at LECTRIC in Phoenix. We took it out on the road, and right off the bat it was so easy to use, and it performed really well on just a regular paved road. I could totally see how this would be a great little commuter bike, for anyone who just wants a bike they can just get on and go. That was the same experience with riding on a paved bike path. It was very comfortable, very easy to maneuver. Felt very confident on this bike. Now, it's pretty similar when we get on a dirt road like this, or solid surfaces that don't have a ton of bumps and gravel and all that stuff in it. In fact, it handles those types of dirt roads pretty well. It's just like any bike though. You hit a little dip or a bump and you kind of stand up a little bit or position yourself back a little ways, when you want to go downhill. And it's just kind of learning how to ride just like a regular bike. And you can actually even have fun with this if you want to be a little bit more aggressive and kind of rip on it a little bit. And there was some little jumps and things and banks that I really had a lot of fun with on this bike. Now, I also took it out on some rougher terrain. We were camped out in this one area in the desert where it was a little bit rocky, and the road was fine, but it was just a little pebbly, and there's some stones here and there, and it's just a more rugged surface. So I was able to get around without any trouble, but I had to be a bit more aggressive with how I rode, kind of like riding it like a little mountain bike, and I'm kind of hovering more, standing, because if not, if I was just sitting down and riding with my handlebars just kind of tightly gripped, it bounced a lot. So with that type of bouncy terrain without a front suspension, it was just transferring all those bumps back up to the handlebar, which can be kind of uncomfortable for some folks. In fact, I wasn't wearing gloves the first couple times, and I found myself getting a little blister here on my thumb. So after that, I was just kind of loosely holding the handlebars, and I started wearing some gloves after that, and it was fine. But it did handle that terrain fine, and actually was able to have a lot of fun riding this bike out there. But it may not be your thing. You may just want a more leisurely ride with this bike, but you can certainly have fun with it if you want to. Yeah.
I feel really comfortable transporting this bike on my own. I can fold it, unfold it, I can lift it, I can put it in the car all by myself. It took me a few tries. I kind of stumbled a little bit to figure out like the right process and what to lower and hook in to make sure it was compact enough to put in. But once I figured it out, I was able to do it quickly and easily and on my own.
So if we take a look at these bikes side by side, you can see that there are some notable differences. And let's just talk about dimensions first. So if we go from the front wheel right in the middle to the rear wheel, it's about 42.5 inches. If we do the same measurement here on the XP 2.0, it's about 44. So about 1 inch to 2 inches is about the difference that we'll see in a lot of these measurements. Handlebar to seat measurement. So again, about 1.5 inches shorter here on the XP Lite. You'll feel that difference when you're sitting down, and you'll be a little bit closer to the handlebars. Now the other one is this seat height measurement. Yeah, about 2 more inches of height from the pedal to the seat. And you know, of course, with the smaller tires as well, you know, these have slightly thicker tires. We're going to get a little bit of a difference here on the overall clearance. It's pretty close.
I did notice that I had to raise the seat a little bit higher than I did with the 2.0, just to be able to get full extension of my leg when I'm pedaling. And I also found that the distance to the handlebars was a little bit closer, which actually felt nice because, again, it just felt a little more compact. I felt really in control of the bike and the maneuverability of the bike.
Now removing the battery and unfolding it's the same on both models. Just unhook this latch and you open this up, and there's a little lock here that the key will release. If you turn it all the way in the, I guess that's clockwise direction, pin goes in, and then you can open it up. And then you can release the key, don't lose it, and then open this up. And you'll see the battery sits inside here. You can look at the battery itself. See that here, 7.8 amp hours. All right, stand that up for a sec. So here is the battery for the 2.0. Well, obviously we know it's a 48 volt battery, but this is a 10.4 amp hour battery, whereas this is a 7.8. And you can see that there isn't much of a difference in the size. This one's just a little bit longer. Everything else is the same. Charging the battery is very simple. You just use the battery charger that comes with it. You plug one in to your wall outlet, and you can plug the other one in to the side of the bike here, which is an access port directly to the battery. I found that this is the easiest way to charge it, but you can also take the battery out and charge it that way. You can also monitor the battery charge level here using the display. If you just turn it on, you'll see how full the battery is, and you could also toggle this bottom display over to the voltage reading, and when it's fully charged it should reach about 53 volts. So you'll see it ticking up gradually until it gets to a full charge. Now expect it to take a few hours if you're recharging it when the battery's pretty low. Probably about 3 to 4 hours for this battery, maybe even 5. Now both have hub motors on the rear. The Lite has a smaller motor at 300 watts, and the XP 2.0 has a larger 500 watt motor. And you can see there's all this transmission, the derailleur, and all this stuff, which the Lite version doesn't have. And finally, both have the mechanical disc brakes on the front and rear tire, so no change there. They look like all folded up. And here's the other one. Noticeably smaller and easier to handle. I can just lift this one up, not much trouble. This one's a bit more difficult to handle. Yeah. I believe they said the Lite is going to go for about $750, but go check out their website to get the official price. At the time I was making this video, they weren't yet available. So yeah, go check it out at rvstito.com/electric.
I like this bike. It's easy to ride. If you've ridden any kind of bike before, you will jump on this and go. Adding the extra pedal assist is a breeze, and if you're getting a little tired, it's nice to get a little bit of assist. But if you don't want it, you just ride it like a bike and have a blast on it. If you're somebody that is going to do a lot more off-road type stuff, or you're going to go long distances, you're not really sure what the terrain's going to be, I would go with the 2.0.
So what do you think about this new light version of the bike? Is this something that you think you'd be interested in, or are you more of an LECTRIC XP 2.0 type of person? I'd love to know what your feedback is on this. As you can see, I've been having a lot of fun with it myself, and I'm going to continue taking it out and riding it, and just kind of putting it to the test. But if you have further questions, you can definitely reach out to me, leave a comment, leave your you share your thoughts in the comments section. I'll be down there to answer all questions, and having both bikes, the 2.0 and this, I can probably answer a lot of the questions that come up. But you can also reach out to LECTRIC directly. They have a great support staff that'll help you out in any way you need. We've met them. It's a great company, great group of folks. And the easiest way to reach them is through rvwithtito.com/lectric. Now, it's an affiliate link, so if you do end up buying something, and you'll buy us a beer, and it's just a great way to say thanks if you got some useful information out of this video. But I hope you enjoyed it. I'll give it a thumbs up if you did, and if you do end up getting a electric e-bike, definitely leave a comment. Let us know how it's going, how you like it, how you don't like it, and it's just a great way to share your experiences with all of us in this community. So take it easy, and I will see you in the next video. I'm gonna go have some fun with this guy. Bye.